Welcome back to the David Pakman Show. I am Benjamin Dixon filling in for David. David is away and will be back soon. You have me for the rest of the week. So if you're enjoying yourself so far, that's great news. If you're not enjoying yourself, I don't know why you wouldn't be. But if you're not enjoying yourself, David will be back sooner than you realize. Let's jump into some more news. We do a lot of coverage of the president of the United States because he is the president of the United States, and the things that he says and does have far-reaching implications. Yesterday on Labor Day, while the rest of us were taking some time off to rest from our labor, this is what the president of the United States said on Twitter. He said, quote, "Two long-running Obama-era investigations of two very popular Republican congressmen were brought to a well-publicized charge just ahead of the midterms by Jeff Sessions, Justice Department. Two easy wins now in doubt because there's not enough time. Good job, Jeff." I don't think I have to explain to you why this is so problematic, but just in case someone is wondering what the big deal about this is that Donald Trump is implying here that Jeff Sessions should suppress an FBI investigation into two sitting Congress people and do so for political purposes. I mean, this is unethical. And in fact, this may very well be its own version of obstruction of justice, where the president of the United States could have implicated himself yet again in a crime that is impeachable if there was a Congress that would be willing to hold him accountable. But because there's no Congress willing to hold him accountable, Donald Trump is likely to get away with this. And because we become so accustomed to the president of the United States doing obscenely ridiculous things on a regular basis, it's going to filter through our news cycle without really moving the dial in terms of public opinion. There's not going to be a bump down or up or otherwise when it comes to Donald Trump, because we have become accustomed to his madness, to his complete lack of regard for societal norms, presidential norms, any type of decorum. He is a maniac, and he has been unleashed on the United States. And part of the damage is that we have gotten used to it. But just so that you know, the people who are involved with this, Chris Collins, congressman, he has been indicted on 13 counts of security fraud, including wire fraud and making false statements to the FBI. Then you also have, on the other hand, you have Duncan Hunter, who has a well-publicized case, not because Jeff Sessions decided to pursue it, but because of what he spent campaign money on, and then how he got on television and tried to blame it on his wife. That's why that became so well publicized, in addition to the fact that he allegedly committed these crimes. But just take a look at some of these things, or take a listen to some of the things that he spent money on. Family vacations to Italy, Hawaii, and Las Vegas into the tens of thousands of dollars. Personal items from Costco, $11,300. Personal items from Walmart, almost $6,000 in Walmart. And then he spent $2,000 to send a family member to a Steelers game. I mean, this is the type of corruption that Donald Trump convinced his followers that he was going to get rid of. And yet now on this side of it, he's lamenting because his administration is actually doing what they said they were going to do. Little did he know that it was going to hit people who supported him early on. Chris Collins was the first sitting congressman to endorse Donald Trump. Who knew that a crook would endorse a crook? I'm sorry, I wasn't planning on saying that, but it just came out like that. But it's the truth. I want to read this quote from CNN on your screen now. Quote, "A decision by the Justice Department to hold off on prosecuting two Republican congressmen up for re-election in order to help them win would have been highly unethical and a blatantly politically motivated violation of the department's nonpartisan mission." So in this case, Jeff Sessions is actually just doing his job. And don't get me wrong, this is not going to make Jeff Sessions some type of hero. Neither should he ever become one, because he has a standing reputation and, quite frankly, is a Klansman, Keebler Elfsman, a Keebler Elf Klansman, however you want to say it. He is problematic and does not need to be championed or lifted up as a hero for simply doing the right thing in this case. But usually, what I always say, whenever you see two monsters fighting each other, you sit back and let them fight. Here's a tweet from former Attorney General Eric Holder, and this is what he had to say on Twitter. He said, quote, "This is so dangerous and stupid, it's mind-boggling. This is a fundamental threat to the rule of law." And here's a tweet from former Deputy Attorney General Sally Yates, who was fired by Trump. This is what she had to say. "Repeatedly trying to pervert DOJ into a weapon to go after his adversaries, and now shamelessly complaining that the DOJ should protect his political allies to maintain his majority in the midterms is nothing short of an all-out assault on the rule of law." And I can't reiterate this enough. This is coming from the highest reigns of power in our country. There is no greater threat to our democracy right now than a president who is looking at the Department of Justice as his own political tool that he could use to prosecute his enemies and to protect his allies. There is nothing else happening in this country right now that is a unique change from the past administration that is as damning and devastating as what Donald Trump is trying to morph his Department of Justice into. And this is not to make Jeff Sessions a hero. Again, he's not a hero. He's clearly not a hero. But in this case, he's simply doing his job and seems to be doing it pretty correctly so far. But I'm really loath to give him too much credit, because it won't be long before he uses the Department of Justice to attack his enemies, to attack his adversaries. So this is something that we have to keep our eye on, because the president doing this little by little in the public space makes us more comfortable with it. Whether we are used to it, we may never be comfortable with it, but we have become accustomed to it. And so it's not even alarming anymore that the president of the United States does something like this, when in any past administration, this would be the end of that presidency. Again, the best way I can describe it is that Donald Trump has mastered the art of having so much slime on him that nothing sticks. And we, as a collective consciousness, as a collective body politic, have not figured out quite how we are going to deal with a person who has absolutely no shame and does not seem to be able to be held accountable for anything that he does.